Okay, it's going to attempt to go live. Here we are. Okay, fine. Let's try this. We're so far away, and your pen is right there. What is that? Obstruction. Baruch Hashem. It's a sticky one. Sticky obstruction underneath. Caught. Oh, wow. More sticky obstructions. All right, let's go. Okay, we're talking about Sefirat Haomer, right? No, it needs to be angled. Okay, just don't breathe, anybody. Don't move. Okay. So Sefirat Haomer, okay? The Sefirot are alive. The days are living. I mentioned last time, unbelievable phrase, that each day of the Omer was like 8 days of the year. Right?
Like 8 days?
But I made a total mistake because I read on in the book, and it explained to me what that meant. He brings from Chesed LaAvraham that he says that if a person does something for 400 days, they lose their free will.
What do you mean?
That's exactly what it says. Okay?
So if you sin or something?
Arba Yamot, if a person does, takes 400 days connected, a person is able to destroy, I'll use extreme language, to destroy his free will. What?
Like pray people to do it every day for 400 days?
400 days you destroy your free will. Why would you want to destroy your free will?
Yeah. Free will towards that specifically?
Yes.
Only?
That's what we're going to say. That's how we're going to explain
not
it.
Generically
That's
everything.
Listen, the bottom line, and one rabbi told me in Jerusalem, he says, we are in a process. The process is us being free will entities to evolve ourselves into angels. Angels have a one-track mind, in general. You have some that fool around, which are kind of a little bit strange, but in general, they have one-track minds. They do only the will of God. They don't have an evil inclination. The idea here is we have an evil inclination, and we would like to overcome it. Everybody has what we call their front line, where they're battling, right? Everybody has their struggle with things that they have free will with, okay? Let's say a person who is used to, I know this great example I've heard many rabbis say, a person who's used to robbing people and beating people up. That was his life. He was born like that. He always has like that. And then he comes to understand the Torah. We don't do those kind of things. Jewish people don't do those kind of things. But of course, he's so ingrained with it and it's so part of him. So when he leaves and he walks out of any place and he's on the street, he gets the impulses and it's a challenge for him at first. He needs to overcome it, right? For us, it's not a problem, right? We don't consider ourselves that it's a challenge for us when we walk by people to beat them up and mug them, okay? For him, it's a huge challenge every time. It's like, whew. There's my Rosh Hashiva. My Rosh Hashiva said this once. I don't know if I understood it completely, but it basically said that this guy came into the yeshiva and says, God, Baruch Hashem, I just saved a girl from getting raped. I go, really? Wow, what happened? Yeah, I didn't do it. Okay?
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
Right? So, so people are saying, what, you lowlife? What the hell is, But on his line of free will, it's a challenge. Okay? Terrible challenge. But just to give you an extreme example, everybody has your challenge line. Everybody has their line where chocolate is challenging for me. Alcohol or anger. Whatever it is, right? Control freakness. Okay? Some people are just unbelievable control freaks. Micromanage, whatever it is, right? They do all kinds of unbelievable qualities, right? Psychological bullying, right? So that's their, what we call it, the kava bechira, the nekudas of bechira, the area of choice where they need to overcome that. And then, of course, they'll have another challenge, right? Maybe more subtle, that they have to go overcome. But the idea really is here, the 400 days, that let's say for that level of challenge that the person is on. Move the front forward. Yes, we're in a war against the evil inclination. We're in a war against lack of faith. Right? So we're trying to move the line, okay? Expand, okay? In developing ourselves. So if a person does something for 400 days straight, they lose their free will. And this is what it means by, this is specifically for the other days of the year, not during the Sefirat Haomer. Okay? Right? Because if you take now the Sefirat Haomer, which is 50, times 8, because each day of the Sefirat Haomer is like an 8-day cycle. It's like an 8-day cycle. Because if you do something for 7 days, that's a cycle. And then you flip to 8, you're already on a new cycle. As we see, that's the nature of this planet. Okay? 7 days, 8. 8 days is already beyond. It's an 8th day. It's just another vortex. It's just another level. Right? It's another level. Brit Milah. Right? The idea of Sukkah. The idea of Sukkah is the reason why we go out of our house 8 for 7 days is because in our house we were doing all that crap. Excuse my French. Thank you. Sorry, God. Must be my, sphere is coming out. Okay? So all that bad habits where you basically did it in the house. And you go through Yom Kippur, and Hashem He likes your plan. You go to Yom Kippur and you say, God, I got a plan. I really do. I want to change. I want to be a better person. He says, great, let's take your plan. But if you go right back in your house after Yom Kippur, you'll go right back into your old habits. So therefore you have to change your habits. You have to go out of your house for 7 days for that cycle. And then you can go back into your house. Because you've already finished a cycle of being not in your normal environment to make the shift, to solidify a shift, right? To break the pattern. So this is like, each day is like 8 days, and 8 times 50 is 400. So therefore, in the days of Sefirat HaOmer, this compact 50-day period, you can make leaps and bounds in terms of changing and destroying your free will in whatever area specific that a person needs to do. Very dynamic.
Positive way.
Positive. We're only talking about positive.
Right. So this is a good opportunity.
It's an awesome opportunity. Okay? But you have to, now, you can do it passively, or you can do it aggressively. Not aggressively, but let's say proactive, right? You could be proactive. Proactive, which means you have the intention for what the sphere of the day is. And you have to understand the energy of the day and where you can go ahead and express it in your personal life. Therefore, you align yourself with the big sphere of the day, right? Utilize it, and then you are participating in your own completion. By you aligning yourself with the Sefirot above, how God guides the world, all the different 49 ways. 49, right? Specific, like we know that there's 7 general, right? The 7 lower Sefirot we discussed last week. That's the general guiding force. Can you give me some water? Thanks. The general guiding force, how God guides the world. And then there's how we can notice it and emulate it, right? So we spoke a little bit. Oh, thank you so much. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'achol nivra.
Amen.
Okay. So the idea really is and it's a big study. Listen, we're just dabbling, but if you don't become aware of it or study it or start to enter it, listen, I'm doing the same thing. And you have these sheets in front of you here, right? Here you go. Did you get, right? And so you have these sheets in front of you here, which basically is 7 times 7, because each set of 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is 1, right? Mm-hmm. And then you start another 7, and 7 sets of 7 is 49. And each one of those 7 Sefirot, as we learned last time, I don't know where my notebook went with my little cheat sheet, okay? But each one of the lower 7 Sefirot has 7 inside of it, a sub 7. And therefore each one of those 7 Sefirot has a sub 7, and therefore it's 7 times 7 equals 49, and we're working from the top down. We're working from the very first day. So you see here, it's just in English. Sorry they didn't translate it for y'all. Too bad. Okay? But here they have it in Hebrew, and you'll see this column here in Hebrew, where it gives you the detail of what the name of that day is. So you wrote down there, I see, Susan. You got it right there. Okay? So like you'll have chesed shebechesed, right? As we did last week, right? And then you'll have Gevurah shebechesed, Tiferet all the way to Malchut shebechesed, and then you start the new round, which is Gevurah. And then you'll start the next Sefira in general is Tiferet. And then you'll do Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and finally Malchut till you reach Malchut Shebemalchut, and then you're ready to go into Shavuot finally at the end. So you see each name is a sub of the other name. Do you want me to chart it out again? Give me a pen. My kingdom for a pen. Here I go. Okay? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you have 7. Inside of 7, you have a mini 7, right?
Do you have a 7 inside of that 7?
Yes, there is. But that's where he goes. And then he has a 7 inside of a 7, inside of a 7, inside of a 7, inside of a 7. No. It goes about 10 levels, and you can all concentrate in one sweep second, and right? And it's a Gewaltige meditation. But the Baal Shem Tov technique I find to be just as he says, the Baal Shem Tov, he says, if you do his technique, so it includes all of the specific kavanot. Anyways, okay, so we have 7 of 7, which equals 49. Okay? So we had the first day starting which up here, Chesed Shebechesed. And then we worked through it, and this is the Sefira of Gevurah. This is the Sefira of Netzach. Tiferet, and then Netzach. See, we are actually in week number 4. Okay? The general Sefira of Netzach. Okay? Netzach means dominance or victory, as we're going to see about today. Okay? So we have, and now, don't forget, now people want to think, oh, I blew it. It has to be a full 50 days because it has to be all of 400. No, a person should not get freaked out by that. You have to jump in whenever you can to do whatever you can. Don't forget, we're heading towards Shavuot here. And we're trying to build the Kli, and we want to make the Shavuot day, this coming giving of the Torah, to be more remarkable than any other Shavuot, more higher than any other Shavuot. We want to receive the Torah, our own Torah. Okay? A person has to really imagine what it would be like to really receive the Torah. What it would be like to have that unbelievable connection to the infinite and to really hear that, to hear God speak to him. Right? Don't forget the very first commandment that we heard both commandments directly. Every soul was there. Every soul was at Mount Sinai. Every soul was there. And the first commandment at Mount Sinai is do you know it? What's the first of the 10 commandments?
I am Hashem.
Yeah.
I'm the Lord your God.
I'm the Lord your God. It says in Hebrew, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. It doesn't say Anochi, I am Hashem Elokechem, plural. I am Hashem your God, plural. Elokechem, Chaf Mem, right? At the end would be plural. It's I am Hashem your God. He's very specific. In other words, it's a special relationship with each and every neshama. Okay? So really to get that, to hear that on Shavuos, we need to prepare.
So the word yor would have...
Elokecha is
singular
you.
or plural?
It's singular.
Ah.
Anochi Hashem Elokecha is singular.
So what's plural?
Elokechem. Anochi Hashem Elokechem.
Because in English it's...
Oh, that's why we need to learn Hebrew. Okay? Or, thank God, there are rabbis that teach us these things.
Yes, thank you.
Thank God for the holy
Tzaddikim
rabbis, the holy
Sodom.
tzaddikim, the holy tzaddikim. Moshe Rabbeinu's final prayer. You know what Moshe Rabbeinu? I remember it. I remembered it today, and the Slonim Rebbe brought down. What was his prayer before he died? He says, Hashem, just break through all of the 7 firmaments of heaven and just show your light to the entire world.
Wow.
That's the tzaddikim's prayer. That's all of the will of all of the holy people. That's all they want. And really, we have to try to hook into that idea. as you're going to see, that's what the sphere of this day is about, is hooking into our intentions that we have to try to get and touch the true intention of what our soul really wants, as opposed to all the external wills that we're fighting all the time. Okay? But if you touch it for a moment, at least you know what's the right way. Okay? And God willing, God is very patient with us, and we're all in a process, but we have to try to become aware of external motivations versus the real motivation. The real, what does our soul really want? So Moshe Rabbeinu, he says, oh, please just break through all of the firmaments of heaven and just show yourself to the entire world. Everybody should just see you. That was his. So here's breaking through the 7 firmaments, okay? Step by step, okay? What was I in the middle of something? I forgot. What was I?
You were talking about the names of the days.
Okay, fine. So the name of our day today is day 23. Day 23 is Gevurah Sheba Netzach. Interesting. Gevurah is a left column Sefirat, right here. In general, the Gevurah is here. Mm-hmm. Don't forget, there's a specific. So there's a Gevurah in each and every one of these. There's a Chesed. This is the salad. This is the big salad. Okay? Remember that we talked about the 7 kings? Mm-hmm. The 7 kings were in a one-line thing. They didn't have a relationship with one another. One guy just had a big stack of lettuce. One guy had a big stack of tomatoes. The other guy had carrots. One guy had avocados, and one guy had kumquats. I don't know, whatever. Mandarin oranges. Okay? So each single one is nothing really to be enticed about. Okay? Unless you have a romaine lettuce fetish. Okay? But together, when they mix, they make a salad. This one has lettuce and gets together with the tomatoes, and this one gets together with the kumquats, and then they make a nice salad. That's what this is. This is the blend. Okay? So today is the blend in Netzach in general. We're in the week of Netzach, and we are in day number 2, which is Gevurah Sheba Netzach. I'm hoping I'm right. I didn't double check. Okay? I counted alone last night, and I'm like, should I check a calendar? Should I? Okay? I'm hoping I'm right. Okay? So what is Gevurah Sheba? So now, what energy is the energy of the day? But before I get into that, listen to this. Rabbi Nachman, the Holy Master, in Torah 182 says, Da, shekol ma sha'olam medabrim b'sfira, b'kol yemei ha'sfira, hey medabrim rak meha'sfira shel oso hayom. Everything that the world is speaking of in the Sefira, in all of the days of the Sefirot, in other words, in these days, okay? Here the English says, all that the world speaks about during the Sefira, all that the world speaks about during the Sefira, right? Throughout the entire Sefira period is only about the Sefira associated with that day. So he goes on to say this. Someone who understands is able to hear and know this if he listens carefully to their conversations. Who's their conversations? Wherever your experience is out in the world. The only thing that the world is speaking about today is the Sefira of that day. The world is not like what you think it is. Okay? You are in the matrix. Okay? And so, but it's a different kind. Okay? So every single thing that the world is speaking about during these days is only in the Sefira of the day. And if you listen carefully and you incline your ear, right? He will hear that they speak only of the divine emanation of that day. Okay? Okay, so this is because the qualities of all that exists in the world, including people, places, things, events, are derived from the divine emanations. Everything is divine. Coffee's bitter taste might be said to relate to the Sefira of Gevurah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Let's get another cup around here. Okay, lattes for everybody. Okay? Sugar's sweetness is the Sefira of Chesed. An inspiring sunset to the Sefira of beauty. A sports team winning the championship, go Spurs. Okay? No, I'm in the wrong city.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Please. Rockets, go Rockets. Okay? It is the Rockets.
Yes, the Rockets.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Get out of here!
A sports team's winning the championship to the Sefirat of Netzach. Who won last night? Did they play last night?
Mm-hmm.
Who won?
I don't know.
Okay.
My husband watched.
Good for you. A magazine's issue on spring fashions to the Sefirat of Hod.
Why hold?
Because Hod is splendors like the high priest who wore these special clothes. A polluted river to the Sefirat of Yesod. A political campaign to the Sefirat of Malchut. Dig it. Cool. Okay? So every single thing we say, always say, relates to one of the Sefirot. Every single thing. But you have to incline your ear, you have to listen, you have to train yourself. You have to, thank God, we get together at least once a week to help us reintroduce the idea that we have to retrain our minds to try to see things differently. Everything is nothing but a more emanation of the seven Sefirot. Everything. That includes people's conversation. So if you're walking by the marketplace and these guys are talking, you should be able to hear something about the Sefirat of Gevurah and Netzach today. Okay? In Walmart, while you're in
Right.
the laundry
That's what you're
department.
gonna hear there.
Okay?
You'd be surprised.
Okay? So the Sefirat of 23. Let me get to it here. Okay, here we go. Gewalt. A person has to contemplate. A man has to contemplate in his mind what that God does. Right? With his power, the force of his Gevurah that is in the world in general, and what God does in specifics. That's between man to God. Don't forget there's three relationships. One is between us and God, one is between man to man, and one is between man and himself.
Oh.
Okay? So a person has to focus on or try to align himself in his mind and his actions, his heart, with these midot, with these qualities. Okay? Because right now, they're emanating. They're alive. They're in every single thing in creation, and they're calling out to you. Okay? Only for us to grow, only for us to align ourselves. Okay? Once again, we're building a vessel in order to receive the ultimate divine influx in the holiday of Shavuot, the wedding day. Okay? So a person has to think, contemplate, right? What Hashem does, his gevurot, his power in his world in general and specific. How does a person do this? In order this is all for the sake of that all of the creation should come to be believers in him. In other words, that you want to now focus on seeing God's power, his discipline, his might, his strength in the world. Why? In order to come to have emunah, and you're going to see, because really the Sefirat of Netzach is emunah.
Wow.
I thought Malchut was.
Yeah. Hasn't started all over.
Well, the recording is not going to, so I'll double click. I'll do what you say, and we'll start. You are amazing. Okay? David, you are amazing. Okay? Why is it...
Why is it Imuna Netzach instead of Malchut?
I don't know why, because he quotes the Zohar here. That the Zohar says, Emunah da Netzach. Because the Zohar said so. My father-in-law would always tell me, that's one reason why it's called Kabbalah. Kabbalah means you just got to accept. Kacha. Okay? We'll try to figure it out. Okay? Okay, but he says the Zohar said so. And it says in the Tikkunim, right? Okay, anyways. So the whole idea is to see God's might in order to what? That all of the creation should come to believe in him. Like what? What happened by the sea? That God split the sea. We know that. God split the sea. Right? He made a great Gevurah, a great power, a great expression of power in Egypt. Right? Israel came. Ubo Yisrael ayadezel yot ma'aminim bo, and Israel came to be ma'aminim, believers in God through that. Just like what it writes, and the people saw the great hand that Hashem did, and they had tremendous awe of God, and they believed in God and Moshe. First they saw the great hand of God at the sea, and then they had an awe, and then they came to believe in Moshe and in Hashem and Moshe, his servant. Okay? That's in general. There's a general way how God expresses Gevurah and power in the world. You have to think of that, contemplate that. Now, specifically, a person can also contemplate that what God and how God expressed Gevurah, power, restraint, with him. Like what that happens a lot of times. Let's say, for example, he brings a person has enemies, right? Anybody have enemies? Anybody ever had enemies? No. Right? Right? The tax man, okay? Or whatever, okay? V'lo yada derech lahoshia, and he doesn't know a way how to get out of it. People have all kinds of stresses and strains. Well, it doesn't have to be necessarily a person who's his enemy, okay?
Could it be himself?
Oh, that's the worst enemy. Oh, Hashem, save us. If we would only recognize it, right? But let's just look at a person has people who are against him, okay? Antagonists, okay? So he doesn't know how he's going to get out of it. So then a person, but you have to think about this in your past. Think about it in your past, not now. Don't go into now. Think about in your past, you've had some people who are antagonists against you and how Hashem has somehow wiggled you out of those hot spots, tight spots, okay? Either he took revenge on that person, or, right, or whatever, he dealt in such a way that that person is no longer in your life, in whatever way. It requires a level of Gevurah, and even if the Gevurah had to come through us, we had to say no, okay, as we're going to see, okay? But in this way, the person can come to see that and have trust in God, because Hashem in the past has, in your specific life, has displayed the quality of Gevurah by saving you from troubles. Okay? So So through this, we find that we can go ahead and complete ourselves and grasp the quality of Netzach through the quality of Gevurah, through contemplation. In other words, we see God's mighty acts in order to become to believe in Hashem, and as we see that, as he says right now, that Emunah is Netzach. Okay? Emunah da Netzach. Okay? Od Yosif itbonim b'dato. A person should further contemplate in his mind in Bama shemizgaber Hashem yitbarach al midosav k'biachol. How Hashem, he did also overcame his own qualities, his other qualities, in order to L'natzech et midat adin, in order to overpower or to conquer. That's what also another word for Netzach means. We should string up all the words. Conquer. Netzach is conquer. Netzach is also nitzchi, which means eternal. There's a lot of qualities we're going to get stringed out in Netzach. Okay? In order to but he wants to be, another form of Gevurah Sheba Netzach is that he overcomes the quality of din, which is Gevurah, that it does not spread in the world. In other words, holding back. In other words, like try not to judge others. That's called Gevurah. If you withhold from judging others, that's Gevurah. And if you lick it totally, that's called Netzach, the Gevurah Sheba Netzach. Okay? Like what? That is right. Hashem is Erech Apayim. He's long-suffering. He's great in Chesed. He bears iniquity. Right? Ukazot yenaheg gam hu liyot erech apayim. A person should also behave that way, long-suffering, patient. Ubezeh, and in this yenatzech et midas hadin. So therefore, he conquers personally the quality of judgment, that there should not be any prosecution in the world. You are part of the team, and as we connect to these qualities, and we behave in that way, through the connection of understanding the quality above, then we're able to express it. So then we're part of the team to bring God's glory into the world. Okay? The nimsamash, then you, if a person were to do that, to overcome his tendency to judge, right? To conquer his tendency to judge. So then what? You have completed the quality of Netzach. Okay? Through the quality of Gevurah. Gimel. Yishtadel shekol nitzchionosav al yitzro. He should make effort with all of his, what we call, victories on his evil inclination, that they should be perfect, completely in the quality of Gevurah, And in this, a person can prove and reveal that all of his victory, that's another word for Netzach, Nitzachon, it means victory, is for the sake of heaven and not for a pniyah. There's a word that they always use in Hebrew called pniyot. Pniyot, which means external motivations. There's an internal motivation, the highest motivation that a person could want, and then a person has to really explore in himself all the time. What are your motivations? Right?
Well,
That's what we call the chitzonim or the chitzoniot or external motivation. Okay? Let's say like a person wants money. Sometimes people want money for the sake of money. Right? That's not a real motivation. Well, it could be for some people, but it's kind of external. You want money in order to pay bills. Okay? Well, why do you want to pay bills? So, I want to pay bills so I could have a vacation. Whatever. So, people want all kinds of things for all kinds of reasons, but the ultimate reason is what we would want a parnasa in abundance for would be to give God glory. That's if I would cut it through your neshama, if you would talk to neshama, if you can touch your neshama, and you can all the time, anytime you want, right? You can just plug into your neshama. What does your neshama really want? God, open up the firmaments of heaven and just burst through that everybody can see you. Okay?
right.
Really, all we want to do, our neshama, if you would talk to it, the only thing that it wants to do is what? God's glory right here now. God's total revelation of God, that everybody should experience God in the most unbelievable way, right here, right now. Okay? Does it make sense?
Yes.
No? Not relating? Doesn't
Absolutely,
connect?
God.
Right?
There with you.
Okay?
Rabbi, is this how you get Yeshuva diet? Is by asking yourself these questions and getting to the root of it?
Sounds good. Hidbodedu. Yeshuva dat in Hidbodedu. Yes, pray for Yeshuva dat. Anyways, the reality is that a person has to realize that all of his overpowerings and all of his cravings and whatever victories that he might have done in the past, they might be full of these external motivations. Like say if you go to a place and you're able to withhold your hand from eating that chocolate mugu pie. Then it's only like 5,000 calories a bite. Okay? But you overcame it. Okay? Why did you overcome it? I'm beyond chocolate now, Rabbi. It's part of the past. Right? That's a thing of the past, right? So, okay, great, you overcame it. What motivation? He brings down here, if you didn't do it for the right reasons, it's gornished. You know what gornish means? Meaning doesn't score high in heaven. Doesn't get a high score. The highest score is you do it for God. There's a great technique I'm going to tell you, brings down in the Musar Sfarim, in Sharei Tshuva, the gates of repentance, Rabbeinu Yonah, the very end, there's this little article that he writes there, very small little thing about the foundations of Tshuva, and he brings down a great thing that a person can exercise better today that's better than fasting, okay? That is, if you're eating a plate of food, and you leave over a bite, not for manners, like my mother and grandmother, old shoulder would teach, right? Right? But to do it because I love God. To do it for the sake of heaven. This is for God. This is for you. Just to leave over that last bite of food, and you're enticed by it. Not that you've stuffed your plate with your stomach with 5 plates of food already at the all-you-can-eat smorgasbord, right? No. And I just don't care because you can't eat it. No. I'm leaving this over for God. He says it's greater than a fast. It's greater than fast. I don't know how many fasts, but it's greater than fasting. To do that every single second in a consistent way. So in other words, the motivation there is not because I want to overcome and be strong. I knew a guy. He was so into being disciplined, okay, Mr. Power, and I was very impressed by this. He was a very scholarly gentleman. I met him in L.A., and all of a sudden he met this other guy, a little, very nice athlete, and they did an arm wrestle, and he lost, and he was so deflated. I'm like, okay, where's all your Gevurah l'shem shamayim now, for the sake of heaven? Where's all your power and discipline and for the sake of heaven now? Once you were defeated, you got deflated, right? So it's either got to be for the sake of heaven. So the idea really is to focus and use the powers of Gevurah when we do use Gevurah, right? To the Netzach of Gevurah, right? The real complete would be doing it for the right reason. Okay, it brings down Chava. Here we go. That's between us and God. That's between us and God. Okay, in other words, between us and God, to express Gevurah Shebenetzach, right? What we call a power of victory, right? Between us and God. So he basically mentioned a few things. One is I want to see God. I want to see his power to believe in him. Another one we just said was, right, to overpower judgment, judging others. And the other one was that when I do utilize and work on my character traits, I'm not doing it just for the sake of discipline. I'm not doing it just so I could show off. I'm only doing it for you, God. Okay? That's between man and God. Then between man and his friend. Okay? This might get a little tough, folks. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
Sometimes our religious beliefs get challenged. A person has to see, to actually behave in a way of to be victorious with his discipline, and do not compromise. In other words, there are certain areas where you cannot compromise. So here, to make a victory, an uncompromising victory, if I were to translate it that, okay? Such as he brings an example, okay? Hava. When Chava entered into words with the Nachash, garam la limashech ulispatot acharav. What happened? She caused that she should be drawn and become seduced after him. If she would stand on her opinion with Gevurah, with power, right, and she would be stubborn, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Right? This conversation is over. Not to do it in a rude way with the Nachash. Or maybe you could be rude with the Nachash. Stop talking. Stop talking to me. Okay? Right? But if she would just be stubborn, so then az lo haya lo makom liftosa, then he wouldn't have any area to seduce her. V'nimsa sha'arot se lahasig nitzachon mushlam. So if a person wants to seek complete victory, alav le'echos bevinas ha'gevurah, you need the quality of Gevurah in order to complete your Netzach. So here we're getting a little inclination. We want to complete the Netzach. You need all of these elements to make a complete Netzach. So how do we need Gevurah to complete a Netzach? Well, we have one idea here between one person and another, that a person has to, and the biggest is the first siman in the Shulchan Aruch. The very first law in the Shulchan Aruch that the Ramah brings down is a person should never be embarrassed if should people laugh at him if he's keeping mitzvahs. If he's doing mitzvahs, people will build malig on him. They'll be smirk, or people are even afraid of the smirk, right? People are, the people didn't even smirk yet when he did the mitzvah, right? But people might be afraid. No, you should not have any fear of any smirkiness, or anybody putting you down, or anybody ridiculing you when you're doing a mitzvah. That's Gevurah Shebenetzach, okay? Also, when a person deals with topics concerning emunat of Hashem, he's teaching other people. He should see to find the root of his learning in the Torah Shabbal Peh, because Torah Shabbal Peh is also Netzach. Believe it or not, the Zohar said so. Even though there's a lot of texts which say Malchut is Torah Shabbal Peh, right? That's that Sefirat. Nimsa mashlim et amidat ha-netzach. So then through that, you complete the quality of Netzach through the quality of Gevurah. In other words, if we're having a discussion, try to bring some Torah Shabbal Peh into the discussion, and therefore you're mixing your Gevurah with your Netzach, okay? Because it's Emunah, okay? In other words, you're talking Emunah, and other people try to bring from Torah Shabbal Peh, and therefore it'll complete the Sefirat. These are just the ways. These are just possibilities. You see how depth is. At least you're getting exposure to, wow, what is this? You got to have a relationship with the energy of the day. Hello, welcome to, your soul, the Soul Code 101. 49 soul codes. Each day has its own Torah. Each day has its own level. Okay? Yireh lohosif koach ugvura b'nafsho. He has to add koach and power to himself in order to lashlim es ma'asehu hatov she'oseh leman chavero, in order that he should complete his deed, his good deed, that what he's doing for his friend. She'ekayim lenetzach, because why? That it should be established forever. You have to have in mind, okay? In other words, you want, it's the sphere of Netzach, and we said Netzach also means eternal. You want because eternity, according to the Zohar, is rooted in Netzach. So you see here, Netzach, a lot of things come from Netzach. Okay, Emunah, eternity, right? A lot of things you're going to see in a little bit, some other things, okay? Yira is actually Gevurah. We'll see in a few minutes, okay? So here we're blending the two things. We're making a salad here. Gevurah Netzach is today's step of the salad. Netzach salad, okay?
Does one have more weight than the other?
I would think the general aspect is Netzach, and then we need to all of these things to give this completion. To give Netzach completion, you have to employ Chesed, Gevurah, Sefirat, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchut. Okay? So you're going to need all of these elements to make a complete vessel. We're building a vessel. Okay? Boy, what a Torah. I mean, just imagine, I believe me, the thought comes to me, it would be great that if a person would have, let's say, like a 5-minute shot every day of this.
Yeah.
And it's in this book, but I saw, when I read this book, I'm like, okay, this is great. You're right, it is a 5-minute shot. But it doesn't capture what
Everything.
all this is saying. Okay? And I didn't even go to him
together.
yet. Yeah, piece it together. That's a work.
Yeah.
It's a work. Like, God willing, Hashem should give me the strength that, I can do it.
Amen.
Okay?
It's a process.
If not this year, at least we got one day. I got 2 days. I did another one before. Okay. So in other words, when you're going to do chesed for a friend, you want to make sure it's complete. In other words, you have to have in mind, I want to make this have an eternal impression, a lasting impression on what I do. That's Netzach. Okay? In other words, you have to use the force of power to make it that it is eternal. Then this you will reveal that your intent is the person who's doing the kindness, his intention is pure, and it is not for any other sake. It's not enough that he just does a good deed. You have to do it with fire. That's where we get Gevurah Sheba Netzach, because Gevurah, fire. Anytime you see fire in the world, anytime, that's Gevurah. Okay? That's the source of all fire, comes from God's quality of Gevurah. Okay? So now if you do something with fire, in other words, you do it with a passion, that's Gevurah. Okay? So therefore, you want to do a kindness for somebody, a lasting kindness, you do it with zrizas. Today now, how are we going to do that? It's already Buenos Tardes. Okay? He wants to mitgaber. He wants to overcome, right? To act, to do this good act, lenetzach, forever. Okay?
So I'm teaching my students later, and I feel the fire to teach them, and they're victorious.
Yes.
Successful.
Yes.
And
And you want to make your
them.
teaching, that's so beautiful. You want to make your teaching mamish stick forever.
Right.
So you do it with a passion. That's beautiful.
So that would be
That's
combining those
great.
two.
Yes. Okay? That's it. There you go. So we're getting a sense, maybe somewhat of how these elements combine. Okay? So through this, you go ahead and you complete the quality of Netzach through the quality of Gevurah. So we're getting an understanding here. Okay? That's between man and man. And then there's Be'aver Bisman. Be'aver with your limb, a body part. How do I do Gevurah of Netzach with a body part? We know that Netzach in the body parts, this is the right arm, left arm, torso, right leg, left leg, right? Yesod, and this is Malchut, this is the right leg. So he says here, Yishtamesh Boregel Yamin. Biyoso Poel Gevurah. When you do that mighty act, whatever it is, you're going to do an action with Gevurah, with power, meaning fire. Use the right leg. Yishtamesh b'regel yamin. V'nimsa shehishlim et aver hanetzach. Then you complete the right limb, the limb of Netzach, through your pu'ulot of Gevurah, an action of Gevurah. Whatever power it is, if you want to run away from something. So you use when you have in mind, it's a big, huge thing, part of all of what the masters teach is that through our very simple actions do tremendous pu'ulot. But we have to put our mind to it. Dancing, Rabbi Nachman says. Clap your hands. Dancing. You're moving your netzach and your hod, and therefore you're mitigating judgments. While you're dancing, if you have it in mind. You think it's just a little stupid little dance. All those rabbis, I can't wait till they're done. I'm hungry already. Right? Right? But no. Dancing like this, moving the left and right leg creates the balance in the world, Rabbi Nachman says, and also clapping. Clapping clears the air of the vrittis, of the negativity and the pettiness of the air, and it brings the air right here. Eretz Yisrael. It has to do with 28 plus 28, right? There's a lot that goes into it. Or 14 equals 28. Koach Masav Yigid Le'amo, right? So, in any case, that's why people in davening, the Breslov, they go like this. You ever notice that? Got to go to Uman. No, you don't go. They clap their hands.
Because also can use a bell, a chime, or something loud like that.
I never heard that. Okay. Well, it could be, he says specifically the hands, because the hands have 14 bones in them, 14 limbs, and this is 14, and 14 and 14 equals 28, which equals koach, which means power. So there's a power in just the clap, and to bring the air, an Israel air. It makes the air around you the air of Israel. It's a time warp. It's a space warp. It's right. One day we'll figure out how we can do this,
That's all relative.
and then we could like actually be in Eretz Yisrael. Okay. In any case, In any way, that's bizman, time. Let's talk about time. Yishtadel yireh et Hashem yitborach b'shachar. A person has to have awe. No, a person should make effort to see God b'shachar, in the morning. What does that mean? Because shemush rash b'netzach. The Zohar brings down that shachar. What is shachar? Or actually, really, I think shachar could be just darkness. So I think he's referring to morning. Is Netzach. Yeah, the sun is conquering. The sun comes up. That's the conquering. Okay? So a person should make effort to see Hashem Yitborach b'shachar in the morning, ubeprat b'yom ravi, and specifically on Wednesday. Wednesday is the fourth day of the creation. Don't forget, this 7 is the genetic code of the universe. The 7 days of the year this corresponds to. This is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. This is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Shabbos. Okay? So this is Yom Ravi'i. Yom Ravi'i is Wednesday. Okay? Wednesday is Netzach. So he should make efforts on Wednesday, even though we lost it. Okay? But anyways. Yishtadel, bait. That was yesterday. Yishtadel lekaven b'tfilah shmona esrei b'birkos ra'eina. A person should make effort. We're way past the time. Okay, sorry. We'll finish up here.
We're going all day.
A person should make effort to intend in the Shemona Esrei, the silent prayer in the blessing of Ra'eina. Alma shebegam bezman shaya omed bezman nisayon. He has to have intention. Ra'eina Hashem Elokeinu. I think it's V'anyenu v'riva rivenu. Please defend our cause, right, and redeem us. Let's just get it. Let's not jive. Let's get the full words. Let me not smoke screen you. Okay? Now. Okay? It is the fourth blessing of the Shemona Esrei, after the first 3. You have the first 3, which is like one set. That's the introduction. And then we're starting in the Shemona Esrei, so you have the fourth blessing is Re'ena v'anyenu v'riva rivenu. Behold, please, our affliction. Take up our grievance and redeem us with a complete redemption speedily for your name's sake. For you are God, the powerful Redeemer. Blessed are you, Hashem, Redeemer of Israel. Okay, so a person has to make special intention in that prayer. Okay? On what that he has blemished in the time that he stood in Nisayon, and then he actually might have had, God forbid, doubts in emunah, in faith. In other words, he has to have the intention to weed out doubts. Don't forget, Netzach is emunah. So here's the chance to go ahead and complete emunah by using the power of this blessing in Shon Esrei to go ahead and bring a completion to emunah through Gevurah. Gimel, the last one. Kishemazkir Shem Elokim. Anytime you're reading any Torah and you mention and you come across the name of Elokim, which is Gevurah, that's the name of Gevurah of God. So he has to have intention in it. And the time that he's reading the pasuk from the Nevi'im or any verse that he mentions Moshe Rabbeinu, who is the greatest of all the Nevi'im, he has to have intention that he's going to complete Netzach through that. Okay, in this week. So in a lot of things, we're getting a lot of flashes. Elokim, awe of God, right? Gevurah is fire, right? Torah Shabbal Peh is Gevurah. Mixing a lot of things, seeing a lot of concepts. Okay, it's a lot of concepts. But the idea really is, and finally, in Kinyan Torah, we know there are 48 ways to acquire the Torah.
It's right there.
Okay. 48 ways to acquire the Torah today is Kabbalah's Hayisurin. That means accepting suffering.
Wow. Today.
Which is the biggest thing. You have to really accept it with love. Our ultimate goal, if we could, and we try to reach the highest of consciousness, to accept it with love.
Would it be submitting?
That's real Netzach. What?
Submitting?
Submit. How does submit feel to you?
Okay.
I got you. That's exactly it. Whatever. That's submitting. It's like, whatever. Okay?
Say that again. What's today? To accept suffering?
That's, yeah. In Kinyan Torah, there's 48 ways. If you look in the last chapter of Ethics of the Fathers, Pirkei Avot, it's in your Art Scroll Siddur also, in Mincha of Shabbat, that there's 48 ways to acquire the Torah. That's why they kind of, that's why he puts it here, because here we're getting to the Torah here, and these are the 48 ways. Go in sync with that. I think Rabbi Wolbe's doing something.
He's doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So, Kabbalah's Yisurim is today, which means accepting suffering. Which is like, how do you do that, Rabbi? Okay? Gevurah Shebenetzach, that's how you do it. Okay? Get stubborn. People use stubbornness for a lot of things. Use stubborn for this. This is what God wants. But then again, it's not really accepting it with love. Might be submitting. Okay? But the idea obviously is you can't do it without emunah. You will not be able to accept suffering without emunah.
Maybe that's why Emunah's Netzach is
Yes.
because it conquers.
Conquers, eternal, emunah.
Emunah makes it tolerable.
Yes. Tolerable is also not a one. Tolerable is like, I'm tolerating you. Okay.
Come on, Abba.
It is suffering, right?
Gosh. But then there's the idea that it's a savlanut. It's a different kind of absorb it with love and going, this is part of the great master plan. And you have to know, and the first thing to know, always, is this comes from God. So it has to be good.
It's the radish of the salad.
I don't like radishes.
Well, it's a little bitter, but when it's mixed with the salad,
there you go.
it's all pretty
Hey,
good.
the Curated, the spices that they offer, the incense in the temple. Well, there's one thing that they put in which is like the most wicked smell. Wicked. Double wicked. It represents the wicked guy, actually. And he's got to be in there because it brings out a whole thing.
Which one is it?
You need that bitterness.
That's right.
Frankincense.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it's not.
Is it
could be.
galbanum?
What?
Galbanum?
Galbanium? You know something? I'm not really up on all that. Galbanium, frankincense. I know it's frankincense.
Frankincense
Right?
is not really.
It's not the best smell, but people use it. People use it. We used it all the time. It's supposed to take away inflammation, the essential oil. Right?
It's also good for meditation.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, anyways, so the Sefirat are alive. You had a taste today of what is going on here. 40 days, every day has an energy. It speaks to us. Open up. Let it hear yourself. This is the red pill. Okay, Neo. Okay? It's not like, just take it and swallow it like everybody would like. The red pill requires study, it requires meditation, it requires focusing, it requires being aware. That we start to be aware. If we introduce to our minds just to start to be aware. Okay? So then we, God willing, and next week we'll get to this. I'm sorry, I really wanted to get to this next week.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and I
it's
will
very
because
nice. Okay.
it's very, very powerful. Okay?
Looks awesome.
Y'all have a great one.
Zagalot.
How do I stop this?